Let's do this. While this topic is fresh in my mind, I wanted to make this video because this is probably the thing I get asked about the most. And that is potty training and how I potty train, what I recommend, why I do it when I do, because I feel like I tend to potty train on the younger side. So here are my thoughts. I'm actively going through this process. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey with potty training. Let's jump right in. Hello, and if you are new here, my name is Julie. I have 3 children, so we are potty training now for the 3rd time. I have an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 2-year-old. I am an occupational therapist, so I have a background in anatomy and physiology and psychology and how humans work and child development to a degree. So I use kind of all of this and my parenting experience, and I mush it all together in a magic pot, and this is what we get. A little backstory. I have a 2-year-old, as I mentioned. She is newly 2 at the time I'm filming this. She is 2 and 3 months, so I guess she's 25 months. By the 3rd kid, you're definitely not counting in months, at least I'm not. And we started potty training her very soon after her 2nd birthday. Now, we could have done it earlier, I just didn't. And that's my first point. Potty training is a choice. It is a decision that you make for your family. I think potty training is unlike some of the other inherent human skills, because when we are potty training a human, we're teaching them where to go to the bathroom, like what is socially acceptable for our culture, not how to go to the bathroom. You know, we automatically just know how to do that. When you're learning to walk, you kind of just automatically learn how to walk, speaking, sitting, everything. But when it comes to potty training, it's kind of culturally brainwashing a child to know when and where it is appropriate to pee. So just want to put that out there. It's like a different type of skill. It is, and the reason I want to clarify this is because we focus a lot on when a child is ready. And in my opinion, yes, you know, there's a big difference between trying to potty train a 6-month-old and a 3-year-old, and there'll be different levels of readiness. But once you get to an age where they have developed certain skills and they're just cognitively at a certain level, I kind of feel like you decide what is right for your family when you're going to dedicate some time to learning this new skill, because it's a messy one, right? It's not something that you can kind of discreetly do. It involves a lot of moving parts. So I think the term "my child is ready for potty training," it's a bit of a misnomer. And hey, I use that term too, and I've experienced a lot of highs and lows potty training my 3rd. And so I'm going to just talk to you about our story. I have my notes over here. I kind of had this rule, just me personally, that I like to have my children potty trained before they enter some kind of preschool school, right? And I knew that we were going to put Neve into a twos program this summer. And so I wanted her to be potty trained, or like almost potty trained maybe. I didn't want her to be going to school in diapers. For me, it's just a personal preference. I just feel like for her own dignity, as she gets older, like just having strangers change her, it's very exposed when you're doing diaper changes. When she is old enough, really, and I'll prove it to you that she is, to go to the toilet with a little bit of help, you know? So it's just something for me. It's a personal preference. And again, it's my choice to decide to potty train her. Now, people are gonna have different opinions. That's okay. You know, do what you gotta do, but this was just my thing. So that was kind of my goal. And I think having a goal, like I want to have started potty training by X day, or I want them to be fairly competent by whenever, is helpful, but you cannot be married to it, because life happens and maybe it's just not working for you and you have to regroup. So we had a gap in the early summer for about a month when we weren't going anywhere or doing anything. Now, if you've ever potty trained, it is helpful to not have too much stuff on the calendar, but you also can't live like a hermit for your whole life. But I knew I had about a month where we were not traveling and we were not like taking her out of her environment, and she was not starting school. So I was like, okay, great. So this was probably like mid-June. So at this point, she's 2 years old and 1 month. I think anytime from sort of the 22-month mark to young 2s is a good time to start. But let me tell you, that was always my perception. Like, as long as you start potty training before 2.5, you're good, because there's less resistance on the child's part. They're maybe less headstrong as to doing what you want, and it's easier to potty train, in my experience, having potty trained the other 2, right? Wow, this girl she did not want to give up her diapers, right? She was very comfortable with the way things were. She was like, what the are you doing to me? Like, I don't want to pee somewhere else. I'm very happy the way I am. So we encountered a lot of resistance, and it was hard for me because I was like, okay, she's older than all the other ones. We had potty trained the other ones younger, before they turned 2, and we managed to do it before they started school. Like, how, what am I gonna do here? You know, like, I have a month, which may sound like a long time when you're potty training, but it's a process. It takes time. Like, if I go back to the walking analogy, even though I said it's not the same, but walking takes time. Once you learn how to walk, you don't learn how to walk in a day. It takes several months to really become totally proficient and not fall over all the time. Same kind of thing with potty training, because there are many steps involved. Basically, the way I start to potty train is I have them bottomless or like diaperless, and I need, the goal with that is that you want them to develop this connection between their brain and the sensation of needing to pee. The point where they're like, hey mommy, I need to pee, that's like far in the distance. That's the pinnacle of potty training. That's like, you have a potty trained child now. But right in the beginning, when they're used to being completely diapered and not really being in touch with their bodily functions, that's far off. And so we needed time for her to just get used to being naked, to peeing on the floor a few times and seeing what it's like, to trying to catch pee in a potty. I also learned during that time that she did not like sitting on a potty. She actually preferred being on a toilet, but she's little and itty bitty, so we got little toilet seats that she sits on, and she loves those, and those have really helped because they're like little characters, nothing crazy. But we had a plain toilet seat and she tolerated it. But once we got the little unicorn and the frog, she was all about it. So I learned early on that she does not really like sitting in the potty. Now, subsequently, she has, because she's more in control of her body. But in the beginning, it was a very frustrating process. There was probably 5 days where I didn't really do much. So I dropped my kids off, I think my older ones at camp. We came home and we had no diaper on, and I basically spent the whole time at home. And it was hard for me, and I don't know if that is the right way to do it, but this is the way that we did it, because it just gave her dedicated time where she's at home. It was more boring for me than her, to be honest, because I have to entertain her. And unlike how we usually operate, which is her playing independently and I don't have to worry about her, I had to worry about her because I don't want her to pee on the floor, but I want to be able to catch her peeing when she does it and put her on the toilet. I also discovered that she's a camel and she could really hold her pee for hours, like 4 or 5 hours. So we could really take her in the car without a diaper and then come home and she still hadn't peed. And it wasn't like she wasn't drinking enough. She was drinking her normal amount. She just wasn't drinking more than usual. And when we added more, it kind of overwhelmed. When we added more liquids, it really overwhelmed her. So you really have to learn how each child manages. This is also your first time as a parent to really know like when they pee and like how often, and you don't know that when they have a diaper on. Like, you can't tell if they've peed 3 times or once, right? So it's an important learning period, and I know it's not always possible for people to take a week off to watch their child naked run around their home and see like their peeing habits. But if you could do it over 2 days or 3 days, or you do a big lead up where you do it over like several months, you do days of diaperless time so they get used to it. Okay, but I know that's not always possible for people, but this is what I did, and this ultimately worked for us. So we did this kind of diaperless life for about a month, and then with like limited progress, I would say. Like, there was a point where I was like, maybe I should just give up. Like, maybe she's not ready, you know, maybe she was just seemed very resistant to pee on a potty specifically. And she definitely wasn't peeing on demand. She was not peeing outside of the house, so we couldn't take her somewhere else and like reliably know that she would pee on someone else's toilet or at a Starbucks or something like that. And we had a trip coming up to Canada, and it was going to be a 10-day trip. We were staying in 4 different places. You know, we have 3 kids already, so it's not like we're just focused on one child. We're staying with other people and other people's children. Like, this, you know, there was no way that I could take her on a plane without us having like mass accidents. There was no way she was going to pee on an airplane toilet. I mean, let's be honest, those things like give me a fright every time. They're gross. And, you know, for a little child learning how to use a toilet, like, which is not designed for them, it's very hard. So we made the decision to put her back in diapers, okay? Because we're going to be on a 4-hour flight. we are going to be in airports, we're going to be driving long distances, Canada's massive, and we can't be worried about her peeing in a car seat and then peeing at other people's houses, and just a freaking disaster. So basically the way that I termed it, and if you come across this where you're like, hey, there's a day or two where we've made plans already and there's absolutely no way that my child is ready to go out into the world commando, right? What we did, for what it was worth, I was probably talking to myself more than my 2-year-old, if I'm being honest, is I would tell her, hey, you're still learning, we're going on a trip. While you're still learning, we're going to put you back in nappies, diapers, and we're going to take it from there. And then I kind of used the diaper where I could as almost like underwear. Like I would ask her, do you need to pee? I would take her for a diaper, put her on the toilet. We had a little toilet seat that we traveled with. And most of the time, to be honest, like she wouldn't really pee. But the point was that it was still like in her radar. She was starting to realize that, hey, this non-diaper thing is not going away. She also has older siblings that she sees pee on the toilet. But if this is your first child that you're potty training, they see you on the toilet. It's very important to role model. And something is clicking. It's kind of like planting a seed in a garden and nothing is happening. And you're like, this seed isn't going to grow. Like this is dead. It's not working. And you're watering it and the sun is shining and you're like, why is this not working? And I think there's such a misconception about potty training because people will say, potty train in 3 days. There's so much that leads up to that. And I would be curious to see what 3 days are they showing you? Are they showing you the end of the whole thing? Like, you know, how much prep has happened in that time? And I'm sure there are wonder kids that do it in 3 days. But I think because I personally like to potty train when my kids are younger, it's not happening for me in 3 days. They're still little. They need help removing their pants. You know, they need help getting onto a toilet, especially if, like my daughter, they don't want to sit on a potty. Like she was like, what is this? I do not want to sit on this. This is not for me. Whereas my middle daughter loved it. Like we couldn't get her off the potty. I'm like, no, you're too old to be on a potty now. I don't want to be cleaning this up anymore. And some parents go straight to a toilet because it's cleaner. You can just flush it. It's easier. There's less mess. But you know, you have to physically put your child on a toilet. Even if there's a little step stool, a little 2-year-old like that, they're going to need help. So you just need to have your expectations. Like anything in life, happiness is the delta between reality and expectation. If you think that potty training in a week or in 3 days is going to happen with no accidents and it's just going to be smooth sailing, you're going to be sorely disappointed. You're going to think that you failed. You're going to think that you're the world's worst mom or that there's something wrong with your child, and that's just not the case. It is a process. Think how many times when you're learning how to walk, you fall down and get back up. And I would probably say, just taking the walking analogy even further, when you fall down and are on the ground as a little baby, when you get back up, that takes enormous strength, like physical strength and emotional strength to get yourself back up again. And it's probably the same with potty training. We do our trip to Canada. She's basically diapered almost back to normal. We come home, we have a week before I need to travel again because apparently I'm a sucker for punishment. So we come home for a week, we get rid of the diapers during the day. We're still doing diapers during nap time and bedtime. And I would say we also just travel with diapers in a little like a diaper pouch. And just because my own peace of mind, like I just want to have it just in case, but I'm not really planning to use the diapers. And what I will also say is when you're preparing to potty train, you know, have extra clothes with you. I like to carry a towel in the car. I would put her on a towel in the car seat so that if she peed in the car seat, that's a pain to clean. Like at least maybe we can salvage the car seat a little bit and it doesn't get like drenched. You could use like puppy pads as well in a car seat because it is kind of a mission to take the whole thing apart. Although when last did you clean your car seat? Maybe it's a good idea to do that. You just want to be prepared with like a couple of extra things that maybe you weren't carrying before because you were relying on diapers. So anyway, we get back, we have a week and we go diaper free and she's starting to get it. Like she's starting to more consistently pee on the toilet. And during that time, I tried all kinds of things like letting her watch something on my phone, which I never do. Like it hurts my soul to let my children watch movies or TV on my phone. But it was just to try and get her to sit on the toilet. It didn't really work. And I mean, I would offer her like a little treat or something. Again, didn't really work. And it was against all my rules, like not to bribe them with anything because I know it's not going to work long term. I'm not giving a child an M&M every time they pee for the rest of their life. You know, I'm kind of breaking some rules because I'm like, I don't know if this child, like, how am I going to do this, you know? But it was slowly starting to click. And I think you know, having that sort of those few weeks of foundation, then going away, taking a little break for everybody, that was nice. Coming back, we're starting to get the wheels in motion. But I had another trip planned for a week later because my sister had just moved from South Africa to Canada. It was my niece's first birthday, and just Neve and I were going again back to Canada, different part of Canada. Okay, and I know, again, the same issue. I mean, we're staying in an Airbnb. I do not want to be dealing with toddlers peeing everywhere and having to try and clean that up. No, thank you. My sister's moving. They don't have a home. There's other babies. My parents are there. It's not, you're not setting yourself up for success. You want to be in clean, just sort of simple space as much as possible. I also rolled up my carpets as a side note, but I don't know, you know, that's always helpful. You don't want them to pee on your carpets if possible. Anyway, so we go there. It's a much shorter period of time. It's 5 days. We come back. I did the same kind of thing where I'm like using the diaper kind of as underwear, like, oh, you want to pee in the toilet? And there were a few times she actually did start to pee in the toilet on that second trip. And I was like, okay, things are starting to click. And then when we got home, I had about 10 days before she started school. And I was like, now it's crunch time. No more diapers except for naps and nighttime. And she started to get it. Like she now, which is maybe like a month since then, since we traveled, she not even a month. It's probably been 3 weeks. She pees consistently. She will pee on the toilet when I put her on there. We get into a routine where before we leave the house, she pees. When we go somewhere, if it's been more than like an hour, I'll ask her if she wants to pee. I also noticed that when I ask her, do you need to pee? And she says no, it's probably correct. She probably doesn't want to pee, but you have to evaluate, right? Is she in the middle of playing and she's really absorbed? Maybe she does need to go and pee. If she'll come with me easily, like if I hold her hand and she'll come with me, she probably needs to pee. So it's just, you get to know your child, and we've just always been really good about peeing before we go somewhere, offering to pee when we arrive, giving lots of opportunities to pee. Our little potty seats, really helpful. She loves that. My husband is actually surprisingly good at potty training. He's very militant about it in terms of just like always offering, always taking them, schlepping them wherever they need to go, making it fun for her. So that really helps. And I've also noticed that she is very proud of herself when she pees, because she sits down and she waits for her pee to come. She gets really excited, and that's really the motivation that she needs to keep going. Like I high five her and I cheer her on and I do a little silly dance and stuff. She doesn't really need that, but she's inherently motivated, and that's what you need. You can't be giving them external motivation. You can't be potty training through fear, like if you don't pee, I'm going to do something to you, or if you pee, I will give you an ice cream. That's just not realistic. I mean, that's not the way that I want to be able to do it. Like being able to pee and poop in a toilet is like a natural human skill that all of us need to learn. And so, you know, you can't be inherently rewarded every time you do something basic like that. Like, oh, you know, you ate your breakfast, here's $5. Like, no, that's not going to happen. So I want to encourage you, if you are thinking about potty training, if you don't know what age to potty train, you can do it younger than you probably think. Choose a time that will be the best to set your child up for success for your family. It's going to look a little bit different for everybody. And the key thing is to be consistent and don't give up. There were many times during that first sort of 3 weeks to a month before we went away the first time where I was like, yeah, she's not ready. She doesn't want to do this. And yeah, she didn't want to do this. I don't know if she wasn't ready, like she's physically and cognitively capable, but she didn't want to do it. Okay. And I don't know, like, would I want to do it if suddenly you just changed it up for me? And I don't really have any desire to please you for any reason. Like, it's a hard skill. You know, they get frustrated just like the rest of us. I'm sure in the beginning, the reason she was resisting was because it wasn't easy for her. It was like riding a bike and learning how to ride a bike. It was hard in the beginning. And so I want you to stay consistent and be patient. Don't take it on as a reflection of you as a parent. Really be honest with yourself, like, is this working? Do we need to change things up? Is there a way to gently potty train, to not make it into this stressful experience, to not put this pressure on to potty train in one weekend? Because not every child will be able to do that. It does take time. And my 2-year-old, she will still have accidents if we don't support her. So if I'm not like taking her to the toilet, like prompting her, she's not going to be like, oh wow, it's been 3 hours, I need to go and pee. Now we're getting to the point where she will say to me, pee, kind of thing. And And I'm like, oh, okay, let's take you. And then she'll pee, you know, and she can actually hold it long enough to walk to the toilet and not have an accident. It's pretty incredible. And as I said, she's 2 and 3 months. She's 25 months old. She's not that old, and she's potty trained. We still do nighttime diapers just because we're not prepared to wake up and like take her to the toilet. And I think it's still a little bit too new for us to do that. And I put her in a diaper to nap more as like a safety insurance policy, I guess. I don't want her to shorten her nap by peeing on her linen on her bed, and then I have to go and like, then her nap is short. I need her to sleep for as long as she will sleep. So it's really a selfish thing on my part, but I'm sure we could have her diaperless. She's definitely woken up dry before, but she tends to do these longer naps sometimes, like 3-hour nap, which is absolutely glorious, but that's quite a long time for her to not pee when she's unconscious. So it's just a personal thing that I'm just going to kind of use up our diapers. Sometimes I reuse the nap diaper for the nighttime because she didn't use it. So, you know, it's totally up to you, but some people that go hardcore, they don't use any diapers. They like, stop, cold turkey, no diapers. But like a lot of things in parenting, it's a process, and I find this is working really well for us. So I'm really proud of her for being able to pee at school. You know, I will take her to school. If she hasn't peed right before we left home, say I couldn't get her to pee, you know, I'm not going to force her, then I'll drive her to school and we'll go to the toilet there. She loves going there because she has her little toilet seat there and the little itty bitty toilet for little kids, and she goes to the toilet there. And then I know that at school, with the teachers being busy with other kids, I know that she's good for probably like 2 hours, you know, before they do their regular potty checks. And it's quite nice to be potty training at the same time as they start school or alongside a daycare or something, because those are the experts. They've done this many, many times and they know how best to support children. And then you're reinforcing that they can pee with other people, they can pee in places other than their home. And I think that's really good. I think it's so important for their confidence and for their autonomy. You know, they're big now. They're not big, but they want to be big, and they're speaking more, and they are choosing their own clothes, and they're helping themselves get dressed, and they're just becoming little people. And this is an important milestone for them. So I'm really excited and happy for Neve. I'm really happy for our family that we're getting towards like no diapers and not having to buy diapers or worry about them. It's a big end of a chapter for us, you know, like our little baby growing up. So I'm really proud of her. I'm proud of me for sticking it out. And often I tell myself, like, I can do hard things, like you can do hard things. And when you do hard things like this for your child and for you, it's such a tick of validation that you did something difficult and you came through it. I think potty training is such a mental game for mom and dad. So anyway, if this video was helpful, I hope it was. Please give it a like, share it with parents that may be entering that potty training stage or need some hope when it comes to potty training, or if it's the first time you're potty training and you're like, whoa. I must say, like, it has been a while since we potty trained our now 5-year-old, you know, like 4 years ago or something. And I was like, I don't even know where to start. I kind of went back to my OG book, which is the Oh Crap Potty Training. I read a couple of pages of that just to be like, okay, can I do this? Like, can she do this? Is she old enough to do this? But I didn't use it as like religiously as I have in the past. And even then, it's so, like, Neve was not doing any of the things that the book was telling me she should be doing to progress to the next stage. So I really had to wing it with her and just trust the process. And, you know, I use things to keep me entertained. Like, I would have my phone just for contact. When she's pottering around, I'd have a cup of tea. I'd have a Rubik's Cube. No joke. Because I got so bored just waiting for her to pee. And then I realized she's a camel. It's going to take forever. Anyway, so that is my experience. Let me know if you have any questions and where you are in the potty training journey. What do you think about what age to potty train? How's it being different between your children? I'd love to know. So let me know down below in the comments, and I will see you in my next video.